The story opens inside a high-tech facility, where two middle-aged technicians Sitterson and Hadley casually chat about their marriages and personal lives. Their small talk is cut short when a young woman Wendy in a lab coat rushes over, urgently reporting an incident at the Stockholm facility. But the men barely react. They brush off her concern, noting that Japan's branch always delivers results, and their US site typically finishes in second place anyway. As they hop onto a golf cart and drive off, the younger man casually invites his colleague to spend the weekend at his place. The scene then shifts to a college town. Dana is packing for a weekend getaway when she notices her old notebook. Inside is a sketch of the professor she secretly dated. The relationship ended on a bad note, and she clearly hasn't fully let it go. Suddenly, her friend Jules appears behind her, questioning why she still keeps that drawing. Without hesitation, Jules rips the sketch out and tosses it into the trash. Moments later, Jules's boyfriend Kurt barges in and tosses a football toward the girls. It sails out the window, where Kurt's friend Holden, who Kurt hopes to set up with Dana, catches it down below. The group is gearing up for a long weekend at a remote lakeside cabin owned by Kurt's cousin. Dana finishes packing and heads downstairs, where they all start loading up the RV. Just as they're about to head out, their friend Marty arrives, pulling up in his car while taking a hit from a giant bong cleverly disguised as a travel mug. The group hits the road, excited for their weekend escape toward the cabin in the woods. What they don't know is that a mysterious man lurking on a nearby rooftop is watching them closely. He radios his superior, confirming that the group is officially on the move. During the drive, Jules notices her phone has lost signal. Marty casually reminds her that this is exactly the point. No signal, no stress, just a getaway off the grid. Meanwhile, back at the underground facility, Sitterson and Hadley start powering up the computers in the control room. They're joined by Daniel, the new security officer, who's confident he can handle anything this job throws at him. A little later, the group pulls into a run-down gas station that looks completely abandoned. They're not even sure the pumps work. Holden steps inside to check it out and finds the place filled with odd, unsettling trinkets. He's suddenly startled by Mordecai, the grim, intense man who seems to know exactly which cabin they're headed to. He tells them he's seen many owners come and go and then gives them directions to get there. But he adds one unsettling warning: they have enough gas to reach the cabin. Getting back is their problem. After he throws an insult at Jules, Kurt nearly snaps, but Holden stops him just in time, and the group quickly leaves before things escalate. After a long stretch of driving, they reach a tunnel carved into a mountain, the only path leading into the woods because a massive ravine surrounds the area. As their RV passes through, a bird flies too close and slams into an invisible barrier, revealing that the entire region is enclosed by a force field. Moments later, the group finally arrives at the cabin and begins unpacking, unaware of the secrets hidden around and beneath them. Holden settles into his room and notices a disturbing old painting hanging on the wall. He takes it down and is shocked to discover a one-way mirror looking directly into Dana's room. When he realizes he can see her changing, he tapped on the wall twice to make her stop. He quickly gathers everyone to show them the hidden window. After a few jokes from the group, Holden kindly offers to switch rooms with Dana, which she gratefully accepts. But once Dana is in Holden's room, she discovers she can also see him changing through the mirror. Instead of watching, she nervously puts the creepy painting back and covers it with a blanket. Back at the facility, technicians monitor the cabin through hidden cameras. They mention a scenario adjustment and pull up the students' blood test data, revealing that the chemical agents they slipped into Jules' hair dye are working perfectly, heightening her libido just as planned. Their chat is abruptly interrupted by a call from Mordecai, who dramatically warns that the sacrifice approaches and rants about cleansing the world. Sitterson and Hadley struggle not to laugh at his over-the-top seriousness. While the group spends a carefree afternoon swimming at the lake, the technicians back at the lab start placing bets on which horror scenario the students will trigger. Daniel, the new security officer, feels uneasy about the whole thing, but Wendy explains that the betting helps them cope with a tough, morally gray job. When Daniel asks if their superiors know they're doing this, Hadley says the bosses don't care, as long as the ritual is completed. Daniel also argues that betting on an outcome they influence isn't fair, but Hadley insists the system doesn't work that way. They may guide the students to the cellar, but the final decision, the one that seals their fate, is always theirs. Night falls, and the group gathers inside the cabin, deciding to play a game of truth or dare. completely unaware that their choices are about to trigger something terrifying. Jules is dared to kiss the mounted wolf's head on the wall, and she actually does it, acting unusually flirtatious and bold. Her behavior is clearly different from her usual self. When Dana chooses Dare, the floor panel behind them suddenly swings open by the technicians' control in the lab watching their every move. The group assumes it's just the wind and decides Dana's Dare is to explore the now open cellar. Dana heads down and discovers the basement is filled with unsettling antiques. An old piano, eerie dolls, dusty relics. A creepy portrait of a little girl startles her, causing her to scream and bringing the others down to check on her. Marty switches on a lamp, revealing even more disturbing items. He insists they shouldn't stay there, especially when he hears a whisper calling his name. But the rest of the group ignores him and continues exploring. They fiddle with various objects, an old music box with a ballerina, a strange metallic orb, until Dana finds a diary. She reads aloud, discovering that the cabin's original family suffered horrific abuse from their father. The daughter claimed she found prayers meant to bring the Holy Spirits to them. When Dana reaches a passage written in Latin, Marty warns her not to read it, but she does anyway. The moment she finishes, the undead family rises from their graves. In the lab, the staff celebrates. Maintenance has won the office betting pool. Their wager depended on which cursed object the students interacted with, which determined the monster that would be summoned. Daniel still struggles to believe that gods and supernatural forces are actually real, while Hadley complains that he never gets to see the merman, which no group has ever triggered. Sitterson and Hadley check the global screens monitoring rituals around the world. Every country has failed except Japan, where a class of young girls is still battling a malicious spirit. Back at the cabin, the group heads upstairs. Kurt and Jules continue acting oddly. Kurt slams drinks and makes rude comments, while Jules dances seductively and even flirts with Marty as a joke. Feeling uncomfortable, the rest of the group starts losing interest, so Kurt and Jules head into the woods to have some privacy. Marty asks Dana if she notices how strangely their friends are behaving, admitting he feels like unseen puppet masters are controlling everything. Dana insists it's just the weed talking, and Marty decides to call it a night and head to his room. Left alone in the living room, Dana joins Holden on the couch, and the two share a kiss. Meanwhile, deeper in the woods, Kurt is trying to encourage Jules into getting intimate, but she hesitates because of the cold. Back at the facility, the staff groans. This isn't the energy they're hoping for, so they release pheromones into the forest to influence her mood. As Kurt and Jules start warming up to each other, the technicians enhance the atmosphere by activating a soft, romantic glow over a patch of grass. The couple lies down and begins making out. Daniel grows uncomfortable, questioning whether they've crossed a line. But Hadley reminds him that the customer must be satisfied. Their moment is suddenly shattered when a zombie lunges out of the dark and stabs Jules in the hand. She scrambles back, and Kurt leaps forward to protect her, only to be stabbed in the shoulder. He rips the blade out just as another zombie arrives, this one armed with a chain. The creature knocks Kurt to the ground and drags Jules away. The first zombie restrains Kurt, forcing him to watch as the undead family brutally dismembers Jules with a rusty saw. In the lab, Sitterson and Hadley solemnly recite a ritual prayer, acknowledging that her death counts as the first offering. Hadley pulls a lever, and Jules' blood drains into a mysterious stone mechanism beneath the facility. Back at the cabin, Marty hears the whispering voice again and heads outside for a walk. While relieving himself, he realizes the sky has no stars. Suddenly, a zombie emerges and moves toward him, until Kurt appears, shoving the creature aside and hurrying Marty back inside. Inside the cabin, Kurt announces that Jules is dead and insists they must leave immediately. Ignoring Marty's warnings, Dana opens the door, only to be greeted by another zombie hurling Jules' severed head at her. She screams as Kurt and Holden slam the door shut. Kurt urges everyone to stick together and barricade the cabin, but this ruins the ritual's intended sequence. To correct this, the technicians release a chemical agent that clouds Kurt's judgment. Moments later, he changes his stance completely and suggests that they should split up to cover more ground. One by one, the group retreats to separate rooms, and the facility staff locks each door remotely. Marty rushes to close his window but accidentally knocks over a lamp. It breaks, revealing a hidden surveillance camera. Shocked, he wonders aloud if this is some twisted reality show. Before he can fully process it, a zombie smashes through the window, grabs him, and tosses him outside. They struggle briefly, but the zombie eventually stabs Marty and drags him into the woods. In the lab, the lever is pulled again. Marty's blood flows into the stone altar. The earth beneath the cabin begins to tremble. Back in the house, another zombie bursts into Dana's room. She screams for help just as Holden smashes through the one-way mirror between their rooms and pulls her to safety. Another zombie begins hammering at the door, and as Holden pushes the bed to block it, Dana spots yet another trapdoor on the floor. She shines a lamp into the darkness to make sure it's safe. When Kurt arrives, Holden explains he can't unlock the outer door, so Kurt needs to hide in the basement. Dana and Holden climb down into this newly discovered cellar and find a horrifying collection of torture tools. Dana realizes this must be the very room where the sadistic father butchered his own family. Suddenly, the trapdoor above them creaks open and a zombie drops inside, whipping a chain around Holden. Dana grabs him and yanks him back, then snatches whatever tool she can reach and repeatedly stabs the creature until it finally stops moving. In the control room, Sitterson flips a switch that sends an electric shock through the blade in Dana's hand, forcing her to drop it so she's defenseless. Just then, a door in the wall slides open and Kurt emerges from an adjoining lower level. He's found a way out. The trio follows a narrow, pitch-black corridor until they reach a door that dumps them outside. They all pile into the RV, never noticing the bloody handprint smeared on the exit door. Meanwhile, in Japan, the schoolgirls manage to exorcise their vengeful spirit, meaning the American branch is now the only active ritual left. Wendy calls Sitterson and Hadley, scolding them for being smug and reminding them that failure means the Ancient Ones will rise. At that moment, Sitterson notices the RV approaching the tunnel, one that should have been sealed shut. He rushes to the demolition team and discovers a system glitch stopped the cave-in from triggering. As the RV enters the tunnel, Sitterson connects the faulty wires, finally detonating the collapse. Kurt slams the brakes and reverses just in time. With the tunnel gone, the only escape now is to jump the ravine. They have no ropes, but Kurt insists he can make the leap on his bike. He's done extreme jumps before. He speeds toward the edge, launches into the air, and slams straight into the invisible force field, snapping with electricity before plummeting into the abyss. Dana realizes Marty had been right all along. Someone really is pulling the strings. In the lab, Kurt's blood fills another carved sigil. Holden and Dana get back into the RV and drive toward the cabin, hoping there's another road behind it. Mid-drive, a blade suddenly pierces through the seat and into Holden's chest, killing him instantly. Dana screams as the RV veers off the road, crashes through the guardrail, and plunges into the lake. A zombie tries to grab her, but she swims free and reaches the pier. Back at the facility, the staff clinks glasses, celebrating. Daniel is confused. Dana is still alive. But Hadley explains that the final girl doesn't have to die yet. She just needs to suffer, and her death only matters at the very end. While the technicians party, Dana is still fighting for her life on the pier. The zombie nearly kills her, until Marty suddenly appears, alive and armed. Together they knock the creature into the lake and run, knowing the undead horde is still chasing them. Marty leads Dana to one of the open graves, where the zombie that had dragged him is now shredded to pieces. Marty explains he took it out with a trowel. The grave, however, isn't a grave at all. It's a metal chamber with wiring. Marty activates the panel, opening a hatch in the floor that leads to a cube-like elevator. The two climb inside, and it begins moving in erratic directions. Every time it stops, a different monster appears. A werewolf slams against the glass, a ghost girl screeches, more creatures wait in their cells. Dana suddenly understands. Each monster corresponds to an item they touched in the cellar. They unknowingly decided their own fate. Hundreds of monsters are stored here, waiting for release. Panic erupts in the lab. Wendy discovers they overlooked one of Marty's secret stashes, meaning he had been smoking pure weed, without their mind-altering chemicals. That's why he resisted their manipulation. The elevator finally stops at a security hub. A guard tries to pull Dana out, but the severed zombie arm on the floor grabs him instead. Marty and Dana overpower him, taking his gun and the zombie's knife before sprinting through the corridor. A calm female voice echoes through the facility, explaining that the two of them are part of a ritual meant to appease ancient gods beneath the earth. More guards arrive. Marty and Dana dart into a small control room. Dana spots a huge control panel and, without hesitation, slams the button. Suddenly, every monster in the facility is unleashed. Chaos erupts throughout the facility as every unleashed creature tears through guards and scientists alike. The main control room loses power, and something starts pounding on the door just as a dragon bat swoops at Marty and Dana. They sprint away, dodging monsters and firing back when they can, eventually slipping through a hole in the wall that leads into a hidden tunnel. Back in the control room, Sitterson and Wendy desperately try to open the emergency exit. Daniel is impaled by the scarecrows but manages to trigger a grenade before dying, the blast knocking Hadley to the floor. As he lies there, he finally gets a close look at the merman, only to realize it's far uglier than he imagined, right before it kills him. Meanwhile, massive tentacles burst from the ceiling and drag Wendy away. Sitterson finally forces open the emergency hatch and flees into the hidden tunnel, only to run right into Dana's knife. As he bleeds out, he begs her to kill Marty. Afterward, Marty hands Dana the gun, and they push deeper into the tunnel until they reach a chamber holding 5 stone tablets, 4 of them already filled with blood. Dana realizes each tablet represents one of their friends, and that everything has been part of a ritual sacrifice. Marty questions why they weren't killed quickly, and Dana guesses the ritual demands they suffer. The mysterious female voice returns, confirming their punishment. She explains the truth. The ritual exists to satisfy the Ancient Ones, massive, ancient gods sleeping beneath the facility. If the ritual fails, they will awaken and destroy the world. With only 8 minutes until sunrise, the director insists Marty must die so humanity can live. Marty refuses to accept a world built on his friends' deaths, but Dana understands the stakes. Tearfully, she raises the gun at him. Before she can decide, a werewolf emerges behind her. Marty apologizes instead of warning her, and the creature savagely attacks Dana, making her drop the gun. Marty and the director dive for it, and Marty manages to shove her aside. He fires at the werewolf, driving it off. The director charges Marty again, just as a zombie with an axe enters the chamber. Dana shouts a warning, and when the zombie swings, Marty uses the director as a shield. Marty kicks both bodies off the platform. Since neither corpse is part of the ritual, the earth rumbles violently. The Ancient Ones are waking. With nothing left to do, Marty and Dana share a final apology and one last smoke. Moments later, a colossal hand bursts from the ground, and signaling the end of the world. If you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe for more mystery horror recaps like this. Thank you for watching.